Hey everyone, you're tuned into InfoQuench with Jeff.
And Amy. Join us as we talk about anything.
And everything.
All the stuff that makes life interesting.
So let's get to it. Hey everybody, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Amy.
And this podcast is about etiquette.
Etiquette. Oh, but before we get into etiquette,
Yeah.
What about that new intro?
Yeah,
And
new
stay
intro.
tuned right to the end because there's a new outro.
New music, new intro, new outro. It's a whole new year. We're turning over a new leaf.
That's right.
Trying
This
to
is
keep
the
things fresh.
First episode of 2020.
First episode of 2020.
If you remember the last episode, we actually talked about New Year's resolutions and holding ourselves accountable. And at the very end of that episode, I said we were doing a new intro and outro for the podcast. And yeah, it worked.
And it worked.
Kept us,
we did it.
It made us accountable.
And
it was
we want
painful.
we should take this time to thank our new listeners as well. We have a lot of new listeners.
Yeah, we've
And
noticed that we're getting a
fantastic.
little uptake on our uploads.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely.
And really, thank you so much. And Charlie is even thanking you in the background. For those long-term listeners will know who Charlie is. He's the yapping cat in the background pretty much in every single podcast we record. He's making...
He's completely quiet unless the mic's on.
Yeah, as soon as I start
how he
talking,
rolls.
meow, and you, of course, but mostly me, I think. He kind of follows me around. And
Yeah, he idolizes you a little.
Yeah, he does. He's a little obsessed. I don't know why, but anyway.
So yeah, it was
Etiquette.
we new intro, new outro. We went through, going through a lot of different tunes, a lot of different clips, made sure we, found the right one that had the right creative license that we were allowed to use it, and gave some credit to the artists on our website and such. But
Yeah, so check that out.
It was a fun process.
Oh, I know it was. And we have to be clear as to who picked the music, and was very proud that she did so. And I'm proud of you too, because like you just didn't. I don't know why you didn't think you could do it, but you did, and it was really great tune.
Because I just feel so inadequate when it comes to music around you, because you are like the music professor.
Yeah, but you knew the groove that we needed.
I can't remember the lyrics to most songs, so.
No. And that is that is funny for me sometimes.
Well, it's hard to pick a music that that will work and that you hope people won't get tired of. So
Yeah.
Anyway, hopefully you liked it. Hopefully you don't get tired of it, and we'll probably switch it up again down the road. So
Yeah, why not? It's fun.
if
right?
you do hate it,
keep guessing.
Keep your comments to yourself, and just
keep
wait
your
for the
comments
next,
to yourself and
next
walk
version.
along.
So etiquette.
Yeah.
I want to do an episode on etiquette because I find that there's some really...
Let's be clear though, we are not etiquette nuts.
No,
Like,
we're not.
we-
And there's a ton of rules that we break all the time unknowingly.
Yeah.
But I find the concept of etiquette very interesting. I think that there are some just regular, everyday good manners that have fallen by the wayside for some people.
Oh,
that
yeah,
I wish,
definitely.
people would do. So this episode is a mixture of maybe some quirky etiquette things, and then also some commonplace. I was originally looking at doing it just on maybe table manners.
Right.
But this is, there's too many different types of etiquette to talk about. So this is a little bit all over the place, a little hodgepodge. And if we have some time, we might wrap it up with Jeff quizzing me on some other etiquette questions.
Doing some etiquette questions that I looked at a few of them and I got them wrong. I mean, I don't know. But really, how important is etiquette? How important is it to you?
That's a good question. It's when it involves people's feelings and respect and regard for other human beings, which a lot of etiquette does.
Yeah.
Then I feel it's very important.
But when you're
other times it's just rules for the sake of rules maybe doesn't make as much sense.
Yeah. Well, when you're having dinner with your family and everybody's loose and fancy free, you don't want to have the same rules as if you sat down and had a meal with the Queen.
Well, that's
right?
true.
A lot of people don't, though.
And that's the thing. I actually do have a little segment just on the royal family.
Oh,
just
I knew
because
you
they
would.
do have some exceptional rules.
Yeah,
but
they do.
But for instance, we all, before I even get into the content of what I researched, we all know we don't chew with our mouth open, right? So that is something that you would do whether you're at a formal restaurant or dining with family. Nobody wants to see your cement mixer, which is how my mother would describe it.
Yeah.
Cement mixer full of food being, mixed around. I think too, sometimes if you don't practice certain levels of etiquette at home, then it doesn't come as naturally when you're out among the masses, in public. So if you're always, putting your elbows on the table and not doing those little things at home, or teaching your kids to do those things, from the very beginning. It's not a natural thing, and it becomes something they have to think about, and then they may be more likely to have a devastating faux pas at a formal dinner. And how would they ever
Oh,
get
I know.
past
How would
that?
they ever bounce back from that, you know?
But my first etiquette tip actually is away from the dinner table. It involves the grocery store. And
The grocery store.
so when you talk about the importance of etiquette, how important is it to you when somebody leaves their grocery cart in the center of the aisle as they go to look for an item versus pushing it over to the side so other shoppers can get through?
That happens a lot, man.
I
People
know.
do that so much. I do not do that. I always push it over to the side, or I go to a spot in the grocery store that's like I leave my cart in a spot where it's really not going to be a bother. Do you know what I mean?
I do the same thing, but not everybody does
No.
that. There are people who are oblivious.
I know. It is really and you know what else I gotta say is when people don't put the divider for their groceries when they're finished at the end of the line of their groceries, they put the divider to
Yes.
start somebody. I always do that. Like I don't know why. It is a little bit of a pet peeve of mine. Just like put it there. It's so easy.
Yes.
Then I can just put my groceries there and not worry about having to go and look for that thing.
So Emily Post hasn't really covered some of this stuff, in her many writings, but I feel that this type of etiquette is equally important. It's just that common courtesy for fellow humans so that they don't get grocery store rage. That's a thing. Grocery store rage is a thing,
Really?
people.
I didn't know that was a thing.
It
Yes.
happens. We have a friend who had to leave because they were playing Mariah Carey Christmas music.
Oh yeah, she just left a full cart of groceries there for someone else to put back. And left because Christmas music was playing.
She just couldn't
What
take it. That's how much she hated it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Oh well.
All right. When to eat. So this one I would think most people know, but I've been in the presence of people who don't. So when you sit down at a table, and I'm not talking like a huge banquet table, but say it's like 8 people or less, it's proper etiquette to wait until everybody has food in front of them. And then the next level is to actually wait until, if there's a hostess or a host, for them to start eating first.
Yeah.
But at the very least, wait until everybody has food in front of them before you start eating. So a lot of times when you're in a restaurant and you're ordering as a group, you'll see some people will get their plate and just start mowing into it.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times people will be aware of this rule and they'll sort of say, "Oh, don't wait, go ahead and eat."
Yeah.
And then that's
That
fine.
happens a lot, actually.
And some people are ordering, for instance, a hot meal versus
Some people
know.
can't wait to get their food first and then start eating before anybody else does. That happens sometimes.
people are
Not with me.
People are
but
so interesting.
I know. It really is.
I love the
It's-
differences of.
And when is the proper time to do, if you want to do a toast or a little speech?
I do not know that answer.
Yeah. Oh, well, I stumped you.
Yeah.
I stumped you and all your...
It's when you've got enough drinks into you that you can
Yeah.
say something, that's half intelligent, but not so many drinks that you're slurring your toast.
There are certain rules or manners that, that are pretty much a given when you sit down at a table. Like you don't sit there with your elbows right up to the bottom of your chin, just looking at
Right.
people.
Well,
and
elbows
stuff,
on the
and you don't-
table in general
Yeah,
are,
elbows on the
are
table.
frowned upon.
But I wonder why? Why is that such a
Well,
bad
I think
thing?
it just takes up room and it crowds the people beside
Crowds,
you.
yeah, okay.
Right?
So it's
and you're more
inconsiderate.
apt to knock things over.
Rather than not being like the cool thing to do, it's just inconsiderate.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, okay, gotcha.
And
Because there are uncool things to do too, like, whatever, where to put your napkin or whatever it is.
Well, if you think of everybody sitting at a table and everybody's sort of sitting back, and then you lean up and put one elbow on the table, you've
Yeah.
cut off if you put your right elbow on the table, you've cut off the
And-
person to the right, and it's almost, they're cut off from the conversation and from the view.
It's so funny because in my family, when we have Christmas dinner, because I'm left-handed, I don't go beside somebody who is also left-handed or right-handed rather. You know what I mean? I'm on the end of the table, so I don't bump
Right, so
people.
you don't want to be bumping elbows.
So anyway, that's another little thing. But anyway,
there
blah,
may
blah,
be
blah.
other reasons for the whole elbow thing. Maybe people don't want food on their sleeves.
Yeah, that's true.
Elevators. This is a pet peeve of mine.
Elevators.
When you're waiting for an elevator and the door's open.
Mm-hmm.
Or sorry, you're in an elevator and the door's open and you're getting ready to get out, and the people waiting to get in or trying to get in, they just assume
They don't wait.
They
Yeah.
assume the elevator is empty.
Yeah,
And they just
yeah.
start to try to plow in.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes it happens by accident, but other times there are people who are just trying to plow into the elevator before the people who are on can even get off.
And let's
So that's
remember when we
elevator
were in
etiquette.
London, the whole, you have to be on one certain side of the escalator to the right.
Yeah, that's right.
So that people can
Because
pass
they're
on the
always in a
left.
rush.
Yeah.
They're in a
Yeah.
rush to get to wherever they're going, and
They want to be able to pass.
Right.
They don't want to have that option
So
blocked.
standing in the center of the escalator,
Yeah.
or even walking. Well, usually you're walking to the side on stairs anyway because of the rail. But it's considered a major faux pas. And
It's unmissable. There's signs everywhere saying, like, just keep to the right.
And they say they could pick out the tourists because they're the ones
Yeah.
that just stand there, and it uses the escalator. Do we say elevator? I mean, the escalator.
Escalator. Yeah,
escalator.
well, yeah.
They ride the escalator like an amusement park ride instead of just a mode to get somewhere.
It's funny.
All right. Oh, this was one that is probably more current than some of the other etiquette tips we'll go over. But when you get a phone call, like, step away from the table. When people,
There's quite a few etiquette.
I mean, ideally, you don't
issues with
have
phones.
your phone at your table, but there's times when we have, maybe our mom and dad are babysitting for us or something, so you want to keep your phone handy, right, just in case an emergency comes up, and sometimes you have to take a call. But if you're standing amongst a group of people, then just step away and take the call so that not everybody has to talk over you and your conversation, or sometimes it's just really awkward.
Yeah.
It's really awkward when you're in an elevator and with somebody else and they're on their cell phone too.
I know. You
Because-
can't help but listen.
I know.
I always
and
want to,
you-
like,
how
talk
can you
back
not?
and, like, hey, oh yeah, you should really go, man. Like, I think they're expecting you,
There was a
even
time
though
when
it's a
you
complete
couldn't
stranger.
you wouldn't be able to get the reception in the elevator, but now it's a thing, and people
Yeah.
do this. They talk on the phone in the elevator, and it's very
I
awkward.
tend to, like, when I'm sitting down at a table full of friends and stuff, I like to just have my phone in my pocket or, away from me as much as possible. It's unusual, but, like, every once in a while I'm actually waiting for a call, and that is a little bit awkward as well, because you really do need, like, whatever, a babysitter, whatever you just waiting to hear from somebody, and you don't want to miss it, but you're with a bunch of friends anyway.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate that?
Well, that's when the vibrate function's good to have.
Yeah.
You can keep it in your pocket, but have the vibrate function on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay.
Another thing that bugs me is somebody's on their phone and they're taking a call when somebody's trying to wait on them. Whether they're in a line with the cashier,
Yeah.
and they're, like, on their phone and digging in their purse or digging in their wallet.
And even worse if they're on one of those things that you can't even see. They're just talking to the air.
Bluetooth, like
Anyway,
sorry.
listen to me.
I know.
I know.
We're quite. A lot of we're
We're losing listeners just one by one. They're dropping like flies.
Well, actually, what I'm hoping is that our listeners they feel the same way. That
Yeah.
These are the same things that bother them.
If you do feel the same way, get a hold of us and get a line of communication going. We love that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
We should mention, if you are a local St. Johner, you can listen to us on local 107.3 FM every Wednesday at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
You can even hop online,
right.
and if you're not in St. John, hop onto their website. Just Google local 107.3 FM in St. John and listen live. So
Yeah.
we're happy that they carry the podcast and air us every week. So
Yeah.
every week's a new episode. They probably usually a different episode than what we're
Big shout
dropping
out
each
to the
week,
radio
so-
station. For sure. I also have a radio show on there with my friend Andrew on Thursday nights from 8 to 10 called Music We Like. So check that out too if you like, because that's more music based.
There you go.
And yapping. Lots of yapping.
Lots of yapping. Items on the table. You shouldn't put things on the table. Like
No?
purses,
Jenga
and
games?
phones, and just things are supposed to be on the floor or away from the table.
In your coat
Even
pocket.
keys, things like that. And it just adds to the clutter for
I can't think of
everybody.
anything that you
and for the
would
waitstaff
actually
to deal with.
put on the table.
I'm guilty of this, though. When we're in a restaurant, a lot of times there's just not a place to put it.
But if it's just me, you, and Hux, it's like, who cares if the phone's on the table?
Yeah. Well, and especially with
Or
I carry a
whatever.
purse, and sometimes you have a rounded, like a Windsor back style chair, so you
Yeah.
can't. The purse strap won't hang off, and it keeps sliding off. And a lot of times people say the bottom of a purse is one of the dirtiest things in the world, and that's why
Bottom
you
of
shouldn't
a
put
purse?
on. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
suppose.
think about a lot of women will go into a washroom and put it on the floor in the stall, which is just awful. I'd rather try
Yeah.
to. Anyways.
Put it on a hook if you can.
Yes. So
Yeah.
Charlie agrees.
Charlie
so a lot of
agrees.
reasons why you shouldn't put things on a table.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. We won't go into a big germ fest. If you don't want wine, don't turn your glass upside down, which I
No.
guess some people do. At a formal setting, they'll turn the wine glass upside down. I guess this sends us, a subtle message to all the people who do drink alcohol that you're judging them.
Really?
Or can. You're supposed to, just as the server comes around, just put your hand over your glass subtly and just say, not today.
Okay. No, thank you. Not
Not
today.
today.
Really? You say
Right.
not today?
Well, just something along the lines of not like, I don't drink and everybody else who does, I'm
Okay.
judging them.
Okay.
This I found really funny that somebody must be really taking a lot of this particular person who wrote that tip must have thought.
Not today. I can just see them. Not today. Every other day, but not today.
Look at a person when they're talking to you.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a big one, really.
This is just in life.
Especially eye contact.
There are people who are looking down at their phone.
Yeah.
This probably happens a lot in the workplace and it happens everywhere really, but just making eye contact when you're having you're doing to me right now.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Sneezing. Do the vampire sneeze into your elbow.
Into your elbow.
Yes.
Yeah.
They
Not your
discovered this on an
napkin.
episode of The Office. They called it the vampire sneeze.
The vampire sneeze.
But yeah, it's like you're pulling a cloak over
If
your...
I remember correctly, when we were kids, we weren't told to sneeze into our elbow
No,
ever. That's
no.
a relatively new thing.
Yeah, I
That's like
think it is.
1990s or something, isn't it?
It's like we now know about
it's like-
germs.
It's like it came out during 90210 kind of
This
thing.
is how we're going to stop the spread of flu and...
Because I just remember just sneezing into my hands.
Oh,
when
I
I was
know.
a kid.
And then people...
I was told to do that.
I watch
though.
people sneeze into their hand and then shake somebody's hand.
Were you
And it's-
told to say bless you to people when you were a kid?
No, I don't remember being told that, but I
You
think I
looked
picked
that up.
up...
Why we say that?
Well, there's a
remember?
lot of different reasons. Some people
Yeah.
say it because they thought that that was a time that like the
devil was inside
devil
you
was
and
coming,
you were
had a
sneezing
chance
it
to
out.
get, or they might. It was an early sneezing was an early sign of the plague, so
Oh.
it was to say, I hope you don't get sick with the plague.
Mm.
So anyway, lots of different reasons why we say the things
Yeah.
we say.
I never really, I was never one of those people that said, oh, bless you when people sneeze. It was just, okay, they sneezed. It wasn't a big thing at all. It was just, but now I do for whatever reason. But, anyway.
Yeah, but then I'm always like, is it like specific to a certain religion that we say bless
and
you?
we're not really super religious, so it's not like we would say it for a religious doctrine or anything like that. But you know what I mean?
No,
a lot
I
of
know,
people
but it's just like a
probably
courtesy
do,
to
though.
acknowledge something happened, I guess. I acknowledged it. We don't say it when someone farted.
Yeah.
Bless you.
No, we
We
don't.
should start doing that.
We should just say good one.
Let's just
Good
address the awkwardness in the room and just
Yeah.
say, bless you.
Bless you. Yeah, bless you in your
Good job.
fumes.
Never show up empty-handed. So if you're going to any kind of, function like a dinner or something at someone's home, and, it's something where they've formally invited people, then you should show up at the very least with a bottle of wine or dessert or a small
Flower,
host gift.
something like that.
Plant, yeah, little
A
house
plant, yeah. It's true. You can't do that every time. Like every single time you can't.
I'm going to look at you. Well, no, I mean, if you have good friends and you're
Yeah.
going back and forth to each other's houses all the time, well, no, it would end up being a little ridiculous.
Yeah, that would
you
be
could just
like-
keep passing back and forth the same bottle of wine.
They just have like they they just have a room full of like plants that you brought all year.
God, can you believe those McLennans brought me another freaking
Another
plant?
plant.
This one I'm going to look at you because you're guilty of this.
Okay, yeah.
Not pushing your chair in
Oh.
when you leave a restaurant.
Geez, thanks for noticing.
I do, well, because I always go behind and I push in the chairs for
Oh.
both of us.
You mean like what are we talking like when we're at a restaurant?
Yeah, when we're at a restaurant.
Oh.
Not pushing your chair back in.
When we're leaving,
When
you
we're
mean?
leaving.
Oh yeah, no, I don't bother.
And I know they have to sweep under it, but I feel like just leaving and having the chairs out, it's like you did a
Right.
dine and dash. Well,
I
we
never-
paid, but
yeah.
you dashed.
I never thought of that as being rude, to be honest.
No?
No, I never thought of that as being like unthoughtful.
To me, it's like, I don't know.
I do understand it. I just maybe I don't agree with it.
I did this whole episode just so I could confront you about your...
Yeah, I know
lack
you
of
did.
chair
This
pushing
is
in.
like the chair pushing in intervention, isn't it? It's like next. I'm gonna go get my water and I'll be right back.
Okay, I'm going to talk about speakerphone while you do that.
Okay.
So when you have somebody on speakerphone, you should tell them that they're on speakerphone. And we probably all have friends or acquaintances or coworkers who we know we should probably warn that they're on speakerphone. I actually just saw a meme recently. A friend posted that she said, "I'm not the kind of person you put on speakerphone." Right? Because you don't want them to...
I totally
Anyways,
agree
some
with
people
that
are a
one.
little bit more colorful in their language.
You
than not.
never know what you're going to say on the air, you know, or not on the air, but like, you know, if someone's driving in their car, you're like, hey.
Oh, well, yeah, now with people doing hands-free in the cars, it's even more common, right?
Then they got like their 7-year-old kid there hearing all kinds of really colorful curse words.
So, yeah, speakerphone. And social media. Here's a quick etiquette one. Ask before posting. If you're taking pictures of people, particularly if you're taking pictures of kids, make sure you ask that people are okay with that if
Yeah.
you're planning to post it on social media, because there are a lot of people who aren't.
A lot of parents very much dislike their children being on social media. They go out of their way to make sure that they're not, and then if you take a picture of them and put it on social media, well, that's not going to go over so well. That actually happened to me at one point. I made a mistake and did something like that, and I learned my lesson. You know, you
That's
learn.
right. I mean, we're not, I guess, as prudent with that. And, you know, we should do an episode on social media and keeping kids safe and that sort of thing. But
That's a good idea.
but there are definitely, I think it's just being conscientious of it. And
I have a
and
love-hate
asking.
relationship with social media
And
myself.
some people may not want. Maybe they're like, I don't know, and other reasons that they don't want to be put on social media as adults. They may just not want a social media, you know, electronic footprint. So,
That's true.
anyways, ask permission before you go posting those pics.
And there are those parents too that just have their kids on social media when they, you know, turn 7 or 8. Like
That's
they
true.
have their own Facebook page.
Or maybe someone doesn't like the picture of themselves and wants to be able to veto it before it gets posted.
You are one of those people.
I'm one of those people.
You like to veto photos.
I think most people do.
I think so too. Yeah. I personally,
Don't look at me all judgmental.
I'm not.
That's
I didn't.
like I'm some sort
Jeez,
of vain.
The magic of radio is not working right now because I am not looking at you all judgmental. No, but yeah, no, we all are to a degree, I guess. No one wants, like, you know, the picture where you forgot to suck in your gut, you know.
Regardless of gender or age, whoever arrives at a door first should be the one who opens it for the other people.
Yeah, that makes sense. And on top of that, I like it. Like, I like our little guy Hux to actually come to the door and greet people as well. Even if he's, you know, in the middle of playing a game, he pauses it.
Oh, right.
He
If someone comes to
over
the house.
and he says, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah. But I guess I meant just doors in general. Now, some of these, you know, etiquette rules or suggestions, are open to debate depending on the people. Some people may be more, you know, feel, you know, if it's somebody who's elderly or if they're, you know, a pregnant woman or something like that, obviously there's some exceptions to it.
Oh,
So
for
don't
sure, yeah.
be sending me
See,
posts or DMs saying that.
If you're a pregnant lady and you can't push in your chair after you finish your meal, then
In fact, if you
That's
disagree
okay.
about this stuff, actually, we want to check us out on social media because I'd love to hear your feedback on what your common pet peeve.
obviously
peeves
we are.
around
It sounds
etiquette.
like we are like desperate for friends on from the radio.
Yes.
You know, from the podcast.
We
just
don't have
kind
any
of-
friends. We
Please just contact
interact
us and say
with us.
hello.
don't bring your smelly leftovers to the office.
No,
This was an etiquette thing,
Yeah.
and I actually do this all the time.
You
I
do.
bring Brussels sprouts, and they smell like.
why do they
My
smell
coworker
so
was
bad?
like-
They taste so good.
My coworker said, "It sounds like there's something rotting in our fridge," and I'm like, "Oh, that's just my lunch. It smells like compost."
It really, truly, it smells like decomposing compost.
Now, someone told me if you roast them instead of steam them, that it breaks
Oh, yeah.
down
We've roasted
something,
them.
and they're not
Yeah.
as sulfury smelly. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. So I'm guilty of
That's funny.
bringing smelly leftovers.
I'm
to
guilty
my
as that. Well,
office.
I've brought like Korean food and stuff, and it's just like,
And they're not even leftovers. I specifically make them to bring for lunch
Yeah.
to my office.
yeah, I know. But you want to eat healthy while you're at. You've actually influenced some people at your work to eat healthier, or just bring their own lunches and stuff, which is really cool. I
Well,
thought that was cool.
yeah. Well, I think we all used to go out and eat together. I think so. Now we're all more kind of going to
Yeah, the lunchroom
Bring
and just hanging out,
yeah.
office style.
I work with a bunch of healthy eaters anyway, so
Yeah, of course.
it's pretty good. Pretty good for
Yeah.
supporting one another. I'm just looking at. I've got so much more I want to talk about, so we're going to make this part one of part 2.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want some?
episodes on etiquette?
Do you want some trivia? Do you want to do some trivia?
Yeah,
I got
let's
it
do
ready for you.
a few trivia, and then we'll move into on our next episode. We'll release.
I will give 2 seconds
week, and
after asking the question for our listeners to think about the answer.
2 seconds.
2 seconds is all you get.
Okay.
When you have finished eating, place your napkin into center of your plate. True or false? 1,
True.
2.
Oh. Well, I can guess. You just don't have to tell
yeah.
me the answer.
That is incorrect.
Or to the left of the plate.
That's still incorrect. Well, whatever it is, it's just incorrect. Okay.
Okay. Throw it up in the air. Throw it at your server.
If your fork falls on the floor, apologize to everyone at the table. I'm sorry. Pick it up, clean it properly with your napkin, and continue using it. True or false?
Oh, false. You kick it to the side and pretend nothing happened. And then look around and steal someone else's fork.
It's funny. It doesn't give you the reason why it's true or false. It just says, yeah, it's true or false. So.
Well, we're going to have to up our trivia game.
All right, next one. You should always pass both the salt and pepper, even if only one is asked for.
Absolutely. They should always travel together.
Really?
Yes.
So that's true.
That's true.
And that is true.
Now
wow. I've never done that.
They must
in my
travel
entire
together,
life.
the salt and the pepper.
I love that saying, in my whole entire life, as if you lived your whole life, which you never have, because you're alive now. The only way you could say that is if you were dead. In my whole entire life, I've never done that.
In the very final second before death, you can make that statement and have it be true. I actually didn't know about the salt and pepper thing until I started researching for this episode. So there's that.
Okay, yes.
I'm going to give that confession.
But you know what? Even knowing it now, you're still not going to pass both of them. If someone asks for the salt, you're not going to say, "Oh yeah, here's the pepper too, just in case." You know.
Well, sometimes they come in a little holder that has both in them.
It's
I just
true.
picture someone scooping up all the condiments on the table and saying, "Oh, you wanted the salt? Here, take everything," and just
here, take the ketchup, take the mustard.
They travel together.
You should excuse yourself if you must leave the table during a meal. True or false?
True. I always excuse myself whenever I leave a table.
Very true.
Whether I'm in a meeting or whatever, I excuse myself. I don't just bolt.
It is okay for you to burp throughout the meal as long as you say "excuse me" every time you do so.
Ooh, that's a good question. I think that depends on the country.
Well,
because I've heard that in some countries it's compliments to the chef.
Yeah. Well, what's your answer? True or false?
I'm going to say, well, some people have medical conditions where they have to burp. So I'm going to say true.
All right. And the answer is false. Yeah. It's not okay to burp at the table at any time.
Now, I hold my burps in all the time. I actually don't even burp. I don't burp.
Always use
like
the
queen.
What? Always use I know you burp. Always use the bread plate to your left. True or false?
That is true. And I have a little trick to help you remember that in the next episode.
That is true.
And I have to have a little...
Well, you better say, "Excuse me." Say, "Excuse me."
Excuse me.
Okay, good.
I vampire coughed into my sleeve.
All right. A few more and then that'll be it.
Okay.
Sit up straight and keep your elbows off the table, especially when you're eating. True or false?
True.
Nope, it says slouch and put your elbows on the table. All 2 of them. Your water and wine glasses are located toward the right of your plate. True or false?
That is true.
That is true. That is correct. Okay, next. In order to signal to the waiter that you have finished your meal, place the fork and knife back on the table where they were before.
False. You put them in the 420 position. Another time
Correct.
420 comes in handy.
Oh, yeah. Is that?
It's true.
That may be where it's from.
I'm going to talk a little bit
Okay,
more
one
about the whole secret message system of utensils, too, in our next part 2.
If there are 2 forks on the table, you should start using the fork nearest to your plate first.
False.
False?
You work from the outside in.
Correct. Wow, someone did their research and remember. Okay, one more. If there are bones in your food, it is okay for you to spit them out directly onto your plate.
Yes. Damn right.
False. Correct. Okay, thanks for listening,
I don't know,
everybody.
Are you choking? Oh, stay tuned because now it's the outro.
The new outro.
The new outro's coming at you, and catch the next episode for part 2 on etiquette. Can't wait.
See you later, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening.
And remember, you can catch up on past episodes at infoquench.com.
Or just about anywhere else you get your podcasts.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
And help spread the word about InfoQuench.
Till next time.